bringing to you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down. This the time to move around. No Gimmicks podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring. This is time for no gimmicks. No, we doing our thing. What's your state of mind? State divine. Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar. The F5, no gimmicks. We take you to your limit. What's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on. That's the time. Guarantee we move. You know how we respond. The state design. The state design when we feel it.
Yo. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the No Gimmicks podcast here on the DFPN. It is I, Black Mac, the Jedi, with the Sith Lord himself, Frank D. What is up, buddy? Welcome back to the show.
Well, first of all, sir, it's Dark Lord of the Sith, but
Whatever.
I'm doing well, sir. Another great day here with the Empire.
Nice to have you back. Nice to be back. We got a good show tonight. We have some things to discuss. First and foremost, before we get into the show, I want to shout out the Queens of Nerdum and Mac, a.k.a. your boy.
I'm glad you brought him up.
We'll get to it.
But go ahead, sir. Yeah,
we'll
go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
They had the honor of going to Phoenix Fan Fusion out in Phoenix, Arizona. They already have some interviews up, so please go to Queens of Nerdum, the Facebook fan page, and the group. They've been posting the interviews that they did from that convention. Very good time, very dope work that they did. Please go check them out. They were there from Friday to Sunday, so a lot of good content came out of it. And now, here's what we're going to talk about in regards to that. Frank D saw this, and he has some things that he wants to get off his chest. Frank D, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm just, chilling. I'm going through my timeline, and I see pictures of this said, convention. And I saw a sight I never thought I would see. I saw Mac, a.k.a. your boy, dressed as a Jedi. And I'm like, what is this? Dressed as a Jedi with his purple Mace Windu inspired lightsaber. And I said to myself, you know something? When I see you, Mac, it's on. I will show you the true nature of the dark side of the Force.
Now, to bring this into perspective, you mentioned that he had the Mace Windu look. How many bald Sith were there?
Well, there was Darth Bane, who started the rule of two. Okay, so, and then I believe, Darth Malgus was bald, I believe. So there's two right there.
So you think Mac could have pulled off one of those two looks?
I think Mac showed his true nature of the Force. No, there's no need to help me out. There's no need to help me out. He's the one that's going to need the help. Because as soon as I see him, that's all it is going to take, buddy.
Okay. All right.
I will show him the true nature of the Force. But no, real talk, true story. It was great to see him embrace the cosplaying. So that was cool to see. Even if I believe he chose the wrong side. It was cool to see that.
Is there really a wrong side of the Force?
Yeah, the light side.
No, there's no real wrong side.
Whatever you say, buddy.
It's just like wrestling, man. I think the story whoever story that
Now,
you
whoa, whoa,
view it
whoa. Now,
from.
wait a minute. Now, watch what you say there, because there are
I
certain
am.
people out there that believe it doesn't matter about the story. It's just what happens in the ring. So you just remember that. You don't have to have a
I get
story
that.
for it to be entertaining.
I
Remember
get
that.
that.
Even
I
though
get that.
that's flawed as fuck,
It
but,
is.
but whatever.
But
We're just marked podcasters. What do we know?
yeah, this is true. Is whatever side you're looking at it from, like the bad guy has a reasoning for being bad.
Correct.
For them, they're the good guys because they believe what they're doing is right. The other side is the bad guys.
And that's what and that is, if you want to put this into perspective about what we were originally talking about, which is Star Wars, that is the reason why the Jedi collapsed. Because they thought they were doing the right thing, thought they were doing good, and they
Yeah.
were no longer doing that. That's why so many of them got disillusioned with the Jedi Council and everything they were doing. That's why Dooku fell to the dark side. It all makes sense now. They were corrupted.
You could say that. But again, they really believe what they were doing was the right thing to do.
And I believe that what I'm doing is the right thing to do.
And what is that?
Well, I am on this podcast tonight, and we are going to talk about AEW, professional wrestling. Okay, we're going to talk about where I think the storyline could go.
Okay.
But just to put into perspective here, Mac, I'm just gonna say I'm happy to see you embracing the cosplay. I thought you were cool as Nick Fury as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy you're doing it. I just felt that you
you
took the wrong
you chose,
you
he
took the
chose the
wrong
wrong
turn.
side.
You took the wrong side. You would be
He's a
much
good
better
guy.
suited. You would be much better suited as a Sith. But don't worry, Mac. One of these days, I'm going to corrupt you to the dark side of the Force.
Oh Lord. Not looking forward to that. Anyway, before we get to the wrestling talk, I did want to bring up something. I was looking at my memories and I saw something that you actually put up a year ago.
What's that?
And I want to talk about it because I saw something
Okay.
else that reminded me of this. And it was like, let's talk about this on the show. So,
Okay.
a year ago, you put up a post about Return of the Jedi and how that was the movie that Anakin pretty much balances the Force. And
Correct.
then I saw another post that was saying something to the effect of that, and how everybody believes that it's Luke that is supposed to balance the Force, but it's actually Anakin that does it. Let's explain. Let's dive into that. What is your true theory on Return of the Jedi and the moment that Anakin actually balances the Force?
Well, the moment that Anakin balances the Force is when he basically saves his son from Palpatine and throws Palpatine down that chute. That's balancing the Force. The reason why everything happened the way it did in Episode 3 was simply the Jedi outnumbered the Sith. They had the rule of two. There was only two Sith. So it started with Sidious and Maul, and then it went to Sidious and Tyrannus, and then it went to Sidious and Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
But Anakin, even as Vader, Anakin was always still the chosen one. He was always meant to do what he did because he always wanted to be away from Palpatine. There was always a thing there of him being replaced. That was always there. So that what you bring up here as far as Return of the Jedi goes is when he basically saves his son to bring him back to the light side. That's when he bought Balance of the Force because there was nothing there but just the light side. That was it. There was no more nothing. They still have remnants of the Empire, of course. That's why when people that's why we had that discussion on USDN, which you can check out in the archives. I don't consider the the remnants here of the real empire. The real empire to me is always going to be Palpatine leading it. So it's not Thrawn or anybody like that. It's always, to me, it's always
Right.
Palpatine. That's why even though I hate the movie, that's why they pivoted back. I mean, it could be lazy writing, but they pivot back to Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker, because there is no Empire without Palpatine. He is the end all be all Sith.
Right.
So that's how, in my opinion, going back to it right quick, that's how Anakin brought balance to the Force. It was always meant to be that way. Because if you remember at the end of Revenge of the Sith, it was balanced. It was 2 and 2. Remember, there were 2 Sith and there was 2 Jedi. The only 2 Jedi left were Yoda and Obi-Wan. And then it was Palpatine and Vader. So there was balance there. It was 2 and 2. No more Jedi outnumbering the Sith. Because Sidious was the only Sith that was left. Dooku wasn't really a Sith.
He wasn't a Jedi either.
Right, he was a separate. Well, yeah, he gave a Jedi up on time, but he was a separatist. But he wasn't. But Dooku was never really a Sith. But Sidious was a Sith. There was no redeeming. There was no redeeming qualities about Sidious at all. Nothing. And if you know Sidious's backstory, there ain't no redeeming at all.
Right. All he wanted was power.
Well, he killed his master in his sleep.
Right.
So, yeah.
But that was a power move for him.
Right. It goes back to the rule of 2.
Right. And thinking about that, going back and revisiting a lot of this, it's like Vader, even as Vader, Anakin Skywalker, it was Anakin on rage. Anakin really didn't value the power. He had it, but he didn't really like Sidious. Sidious was all about power. Anakin really wasn't. He was just operating on rage. And I think a lot of that rage was from losing Padme.
No, Anakin wanted the power. In Revenge of the Sith, see, it started off with him wanting to save her. But then at the end of the movie, he says, I can overthrow the Chancellor. I'm more powerful than he is. I can overthrow him. And together we can rule the galaxy, make things the way we want them to be. That's no longer about love. That's about power and ruling. That's what he wanted.
When he still had Padme, right?
Well, I mean, he always wanted to be on the Jedi Council. That was his whole point. So when you get on the Jedi Council, that is
a form of power.
That's power. He's trying to attain power. That's the whole reason why he didn't like the Jedi. He felt he owed the Jedi because they saved him from being a slave on Tatooine. He felt he owed them. That's the reason why he never left the Jedi Council, or he would have left just, the same time Ahsoka left. That would have been, he would have done it that way. But with Padme, it's all about his visions. It's all about his premonition of what he thought was going to happen. But in reality, it was
trying
him
to save her.
that was going to cause this. Now, what you don't know about that movie is the original script, and they cut this part out of it. The original script called for Palpatine to spread around that there was an affair happening between Obi-Wan and Padme, which is why Anakin was acting like he was in the movie when he was like, Obi-Wan was here. And why he says at the end, he says he's trying to convert her, and she says, you're going down a path I cannot follow. And he says, because of Obi-Wan. They left all that out, but that's the original reason he did it, because Palpatine put it in his head that there was something going on between Padme and Obi-Wan, and he couldn't trust her. So that's where that comes in. That's why he has so much hatred for Kenobi. Oh, but and because of what he did to him on Mustafar. But that's of course, that was what it is. So to answer that's how he brought balance to the Force. It was to basically, it was going to be, at the end of the day, there was no more Sith. It was just one Jedi, and that was Luke. That was it.
Okay. Until there was another.
Until there was another, which would be his grandson, which was Kylo Ren.
Right. Okay. I fucks with it now.
Yeah. Then he had another brother, Anakin Solo, but
Anakin Solo.
You didn't know about him?
No.
No, that's legit.
That's a real thing?
Yeah, Anakin Solo.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, they
Huh.
had Ben and they had Ben and he had a brother named Anakin Solo. But he died.
He was the firstborn.
I'm not sure if he was the first or the second. He might have been, I'm not sure. But yeah. That's why Leia named him Anakin, because of her father.
Okay. Okay. I think I do remember this actually. Faintly. Was this in what movie was this in? Or was
It's
it
not a movie.
in a movie?
It's in the
All
comics.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Theory 2. And I asked
Okay.
you this I asked you this in the chat earlier.
Mhm.
And the reason I asked this was something I wanted to cover tonight too. Who actually ruined Tatooine? Because there
It
was a
was the Hut
theory that
clan.
I read about. Huh?
It was the Hut clan.
That's what people say. There's a theory out there that says that there were secret Sith bases on Tatooine.
Well, there could be. Listen, this is the thing about. Okay, so that's another thing when it comes back to the Sith. Then the people out here listening right now, this is the variety you get here on No Gimmicks. We talk Star Wars, we talk horror, we talk wrestling. So we're going to get to the wrestling in a minute. But here's the thing. So when it comes down to the Sith, the reason why the Sith were able to basically attack when they did is because the Sith always had, they always hid in the shadows.
Right.
They stayed out of the way, but they slowly, did things. That's why Palpatine was able to start up as a senator on Naboo, and he was able
Right.
to go further into and put his plan into place.
Right.
That's why, this Acolyte show that I have a big problem with is because they said in the Phantom Menace, we haven't seen a Sith in the millennium. We haven't seen any. Yes, right. You haven't seen any because the first Sith that they saw was Maul.
Right.
So that's how they survived, was they kept the numbers low, because at the end of the day, it's always the rule of two. There's only two. It's a master and an apprentice. Darth Bane started the rule of two. That's how it goes. Because, Bane basically wiped out all the Sith that was on. But anyways, so it was all these Sith that could have had bases, just like there are Jedi temples all over the place.
Right.
That withstood the test of time. So that could be very well. That's very possible that there could have been. But remember, it's only two, master and apprentice, and they never showed themselves.
So the theory that I read, one of the Sith that were there was Plagueis, and Plagueis actually, Plagueis. He actually funded the pod racing on Tatooine. So
that could be the case. I mean, I would have to go back and look at the timeline, because Palpatine killed him at a young age. Like, he killed him. They were drinking one night, celebrating something, and Plagueis went to sleep, and Palpatine killed him in his sleep. And after that, he became, the master. He was starting to look for an apprentice. So, but I know that the corruption really started there with it. It was with the Hut clan. I mean, that's Jabba's territory.
Right.
That was pretty much Jabba's territory. So it was. I mean, Tatooine is just a shit place, man.
That gave us
much like Los Angeles.
That, you know what? That actually tracks.
Yeah.
that actually tracks. It actually tracks. Oh man. But let's get into this wrestling shit, man. One of the biggest things happened this past weekend was AEW Double or Nothing. Overall, the comments coming in on it was a great show, although it was long. And one of the things of the weekend was the fact that AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery have not come to a deal yet.
Right.
Tony Khan, it was rumored that Tony Khan was disappointed in the deal, hasn't committed to a deal yet. The window for negotiations closes in July, at which point he's free to negotiate with other networks. Now, what I think he's looking for is a streaming deal. And I don't think he's going to get that with Warner Brothers Discovery. Although they have the space for it, I don't think they are willing to offer the streaming with the money for the TV rights deal. I don't think he's going to get that.
So that could be the case, but I did read that they were interested in streaming the pay-per-views on the Max.
Right.
So what I think it comes down to is I think Tony Khan honestly expected a bigger fee with the TV rights. I think that's what it is. And
right.
I've read that essentially the deal they offered him was the same deal that they had already been on. So that's why he's disappointed with the deal. I don't know if it has anything to do with streaming on the Max. I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. I think it's more financial terms because he's looking at the money that WWE's gotten from Netflix and how much they're getting from the USA Network, and looking like, okay, well, AEW is garnering all these viewers for the Turner networks with their content, so they should be, paid. I can understand that.
I can understand that too.
Especially now when you look at how TNT has lost the NBA. So then you come in with AEW and, well, you know what? We're providing you live entertainment every single week. And, there are no breaks, no time off. We are providing this entertainment, so we should be getting paid accordingly. So I understand him doing that. But at the same time, Warner Brothers Discovery is not exactly profitable at the moment. So they're essentially trying to offer them the same deal. And I can understand some resistance there from Tony Khan and AEW on not signing that deal. I think they're ultimately going to shop the show around to other networks, but I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think they're going to remain on the Turner networks. I think it's better to be on the Turner networks than to be off the Turner networks. But at the same time, you just mentioned here, we had AEW Double or Nothing from Las Vegas at the MGM Grand, which hosted many wrestling events, most notably Halloween Havoc for WCW, episodes of WCW Monday Nitro. It's going to be the site next year for, I believe, the Raw, SmackDown, and Hall of Fame for WWE. So it's a venue that's just rich in wrestling history. And you mentioned the pay-per-view, and what I want to talk about right quick is the fact that there is no buzz coming off that show. The buzz has completely dissipated. I mean, I remember the other night, and it was like, oh shit, MJF's back. Okay. I would think that there would have been a lot more buzz coming off that pay-per-view, and I am not hearing anything.
There's buzz, but it's not like massive. You know what I mean?
And that's very interesting to me because when you look at AEW with Double or Nothing, that is kind of I know they're considered maybe All In, All Out, or whatever, or what's the other one, Revolution. But to me, Double or Nothing, that was AEW's inaugural pay-per-view.
Yep.
So I look at this pay-per-view for them kind of like their WrestleMania, their Starrcade. That's or not, their WrestleMania, their Starrcade, their Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
That's how I look at that. And the fact that there's not really that big of a buzz coming off the show is concerning to me because of them bringing back MJF and him laying out Adam Cole. You have Mercedes winning the TBS championship. Chris Statlander turning on Nightingale. I mean, you had a lot of stuff happening.
There was a lot coming out of that. But the biggest issue that everyone there's an issue on the pay-per-view.
Okay.
That is being talked. The talk of it was, it's 4 hours, it's a 4-hour pay-per-view. You had a 3-hour pay-per-view the night before. And it could have been a little bit of burnout. So, and that's understandable too. You have 2 pay-per-views, that's 7 hours of content in 2 days. And with them going to past midnight Eastern, like that was an issue. But the fact that they didn't have a lot, like they had a lot happen, but not a lot of it is being talked about in the following. Tonight was from what I saw, I probably have to catch the last 20 minutes of the show, but from what I saw tonight, tonight was a good show. They followed up on a lot of stuff and they addressed a lot tonight. And the only thing I'm looking forward to looking back at it is the casino, because they had a casino battle royal, and that was at the end of the show, which I ended up missing.
Yeah, so if that's what you're talking about, then was it to determine the challenger for the AEW championship at Forbidden Door? Okay, so that match is actually going to be Will Ospreay versus Swerve for the championship
at Forbidden Door?
Yeah.
Ooh.
They're doing it at Forbidden Door, not doing it at All In.
Okay, that might be a fucking banger.
They're changing this. They're changing the script.
I like that actually, because the presumption was Swerve Ospreay, Wembley. We still might get that shit, but
you're gonna get somebody else in Wembley. I think what you're gonna end up getting in Wembley is you're gonna get probably Ospreay. Probably facing an MJF.
I like that too.
I don't know, man. I kind of, and this is no knock towards Swerve, but so far he's just been flat as a world champion, and it's not his fault.
I was just about to say that.
They had no plan for him, just like they had no plan for Cody.
But here's the thing, though. I don't like the presentation. I don't. And I'm comparing this to past champions. Had a Hangman Adam Page. He had a great run, right? His opponents were strong. MJF, great run. His opponents were strong. John Moxley, Kenny Omega, all these guys, even Chris Jericho, all these guys had great runs. And it started as soon as they won the championship. They had people in line for them. Why the fuck are we getting Swerve versus fucking Kill Switch, bro? Like, why are we getting this shit?
Because they had no plan.
Give me somebody that can breathe down this fucking neck, bro. Like, what the fuck?
They that's what I'm saying. They had no plan.
And
they
it's
just
not
decided to put the championship on Swerve because Swerve was over. They put the title on Swerve, but they had no plan to go with. That's what it was. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You know who could have been in that position that could have been a threat to him had he been properly built up? That would have been Wardlow.
Yes.
Had he been properly built up, because that would have been like, oh shit, this guy actually could destroy Swerve.
Yes.
But they have devalued Wardlow to the point where he's nothing. The other one could have been, okay, it would have been Samoa Joe coming back into play, getting his rematch.
Yeah.
You know, and then him decisively beating Joe. That would have put him over further, but they didn't have that. I mean, they literally put him out there with Christian. Nothing against Christian, but I just don't like the people that surround Christian.
That was actually a good match, but I get what you're saying. That was a good match.
I don't see anything, and I don't see anything in Nick Wayne. I don't see anything in Nick Wayne's mama. Luchasaurus. Yeah. I mean,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you have now the Christian story, they did do a callback, and you know how Swerve got to the top, he fucked up Nick Wayne, Christian didn't like it. That was okay. But so far, it's like, okay, Christian's good. Why are we doing these weekly matches with, you know what I'm saying? Like, these people aren't threats to Swerve. We know this shit. We know he's going to win. Give me somebody credible to where he comes out, he's actually going through something. Somebody's breathing down his neck. There's a threat to his title. He has to overcome it. This is what you did with every other champion. With MJF, they made him prove himself as a champion. He did that. He's fucking over. Why are we not doing this for Swerve?
unfortunately, the reason why they're not doing it with Swerve, and until someone can tell me otherwise, because I'm looking at it as just a viewer, and not even a viewer of the show. I'm just looking at it from the YouTube clips that I see. Swerve is a transitional champion. That's all he is. It
And
was
I
just a
hate that.
champion for the moment. The point of it is to get the belt off of Swerve and have Osprey going into Wembley with the championship. It's very obvious. It is clear as day. That's what
Yeah.
they're going for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
don't
I
like
think
it.
they're going to, and I think they're going to present you with what's the match they're going to give you at All In? What's the big match they're going to do? I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. The match that they're going to do is going to be Will Ospreay versus Okada for the championship at Wembley. Watch. And that's going to be the
I
Elite.
can't be mad at that.
It's going to be
But
the Elite's
still,
attempt to
I
get the
don't
championship in their match.
yeah, I can't be mad at that. I really can't. But on the
I
flip
can't.
side of that,
Because
I
Okada is
can
not
be
the
mad at
performer. Okada is not the performer he was. He's not.
he's not. He's not. But the name Okada versus Osprey in Wembley is probably going to move some tickets. But if you
It's
really
going to move
want me to be
tickets
happy,
anyway. Hold on
yeah,
a second.
yeah, I
It's going to
know.
move tickets anyway because
But
it's a
give me
show
a Swerve.
overseas, and the fans over there are going to go because it's overseas and they don't really
Right,
get content like that. So of course they're
right.
going to go. It's just like WrestleMania is going to sell, even if it's a shit show, as we saw this year with Night One.
Yep.
So that's what it is. They just had no plan in place for Swerve, and it's pretty obvious that that's what's going on here. They had no plan for him,
And
and
that sucks.
unfortunately, Swerve is just not as over as he was prior to this
But
because
that's because of how he's being booked, man.
that's right. And who is the booker?
That and I am displeased at this shit. Like when his first opponent got not even the first opponent. As soon as that Dynamite after the pay-per-view that he won the shit,
Yeah,
which I was happy, but the next Dynamite is like he comes out, he wrestles somebody, there's no fucking pomp and circumstance for him. Like it's just like all right, you won it, here you go.
yeah, and it's like and no, he didn't even. I mean, his first promo as a champion wasn't it on that Collision that Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, like
It wasn't even
that,
on Dynamite.
I mean, I understand them wanting to draw numbers for Collision, but dude, it should have been a celebration, not some random match for the new world champion. It's a
Right.
celebration that
Right.
the guy just did. He made history becoming the first black AEW world champion. That's a historic thing. There should have been
And
a huge
that's the
celebration.
sour taste I
Did
got.
not happen.
Yep.
Did not
That's
happen
the sour
because they
taste I got.
only did it. They only
Yep.
did it for the moment that it was going to have, and now was it they had to do something because Cody had just won the WWE Championship. So they were like, okay, who's the guy that's over on our show? It's Swerve. But then look at Swerve. Swerve is just not as, I mean, yeah, people, they still do the na-na dance and all that, but Swerve is not over like he was. And once again, you go back to it's the booking. Of course it's the
Yep.
booking, but who is the booker? That's the problem. When there is no story to follow, then there's nothing there.
Yep.
You don't, I mean, like I said, nothing against Christian. No, it's not Christian. It's just for this first championship coming out the gate, this
It
feud
needed to be
had
strong.
no heat going to it whatsoever.
Yep.
It's just okay. Christian
Yep.
comes out here. Oh, you got a problem because he did something to Nick Wayne, and now I'm gonna. Oh, who gives a fuck?
Right.
There's no substance there. That's the whole point. There's nothing there. You know,
Right.
and that's the problem. You don't have any credible opponents for somebody. You haven't built anybody up. Everybody pretty much is on the same level or have been devalued. And then on top of that, all your top guys are not there.
Right.
The person that
And
I would
here's the
have
thing.
had him wrestling
Here's the
would
thing.
have been I would have put him in the ring with Jericho at least or
Right.
something.
Right. So and that's a Double or Nothing. Watching Double or Nothing, who had the most talk coming out of Double or Nothing? MJF.
Of course.
And not the champion. Like,
Right.
like this is the shit that kills me. Cause that's the guy that's supposed to be leading the company right now. But y'all got him like third on the card. Like, what the fuck is this?
and I'm gonna tell you what I would have done. Okay, and this is just going back and just kind of changing the booking. So, had Adam Cole not gotten hurt, all right, I would have actually had Adam Cole as a champion. Everything would have played out the way it did with MJF, but I would have had Adam Cole as a champion, and Adam Cole would have wrestled whoever in the main event, and at the end, that's when I would have had MJF come back out, and he would have confronted Cole. And that starts that feud for the summer, Adam Cole versus MJF. That's how you bring him back as a world champion. I just felt, honestly, they pulled the trigger on Swerve, and they may have pulled the trigger on Swerve a little too soon because they did not have a plan to go with it. They just heard the buzz about, okay, they should do this and just that. This situation here with Swerve, this should have been on the magnitude of when Ron Simmons won the championship in WCW. And it just wasn't that. They had an opportunity to do something very historic, and it would have meant something, and it would have been a big deal, and they just didn't do it. They didn't pull it off. The execution was flawed from the beginning. And the people they have on their creative staff over there, they should know this. But the problem is you have people on your creative staff. One of them was a fucking fan, okay, who was writing for, I think, Fightful. All right. I think he's actually Swerve's cousin. He's Swerve's cousin. And
really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Will Washington, Swerve's cousin. And you're giving him out shit like this. It's just shit content. There's no compelling story here. There's nothing there. You got to have this badass faction. This badass faction they're trying to do with the Elite. If you want to put it into perspective, what they should have done, who could have been breathing down Swerve's neck that would have gave him a challenge that says, I'm going to show you. We're going to bring this championship to the Elite. That should have been Okada. Okada versus Swerve. You could have booked Okada versus Swerve for Forbidden Door. Then you book Swerve versus Ospreay at All In. Wembley. That's how I would have done it.
Yeah, you could have. You could have. Which I'm surprised they pulled that trigger. I am really surprised. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm probably not.
They have to pull it because you don't have Adam Copeland anymore.
Well, yeah, true. That does change a lot. That changes a lot.
It always changes a lot. It always changes when someone gets injured. And then on top of that, where the hell is Miro?
I was thinking this shit today. Oh my God. Miro.
Where is Miro? Where is Roosh? Where's all these guys?
Roosh, Lance Archer. Where's Ricky Starks? Where's Sammy Guevara at?
Where the hell is Malachi Black in this situation? Where you could have built him up a long time ago to him to then start playing mind games with Swerve, and he's Swerve's next challenger.
Yep.
But you never built any of these people up.
There's so many
wasted opportunities.
Yep. They're dropping the ball, man.
They're called wasted opportunities.
And then you get somebody, and here's somebody I thought, which I'm happy for him now. Somebody I thought they should have pushed a long time ago just showed up in NXT, and that's Ethan Page. Ethan Page had it. He has
it. Don't know why Sexy Red was on the show.
Bro, hold on, Page. Real quick sidebar. Booker T is fucking wild.
Yeah.
Booker T was like shaking fast. I'm like, no, what are you doing, Book? What are you doing? You married. What is wrong with you? You can't be telling her to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Book. Chill. This for the hood right here. But yeah.
Interesting.
AEW has like, I was just thinking earlier today of like some people that they should have built and they could have been something. Because seeing Ethan Page in NXT, like it was an impact. Granted, he probably got lost in the sauce there too, because there was a lot of shit going on in NXT last night. But his debut was an impact. He immediately went after the champion.
The fact that they were able to keep this under wraps all week.
Right.
He was at the Performance Center last week, and no one said a damn thing.
Yep.
Nothing. I mean, that just shows you. And then you have him there. Who's the other one that just came back to NXT? 10. Forgot his name. You know what I'm talking about. Used to be in AEW. Sean Spears. Sean Spears is also back in NXT. You're about to start seeing probably a bunch of people that's going to start going to the other side now.
You're going to see a migration.
We've seen that now with Mark Henry. Saying, okay, I'm not re-signing with the promotion. It's amicable.
Arn Anderson, his last day is Friday.
I thought, and it's funny because I thought Anderson was going a long time ago.
Me
maybe
too.
That's just his son.
Me too. So, I thought, but Friday's his last day. I fully expect him to go to WWE. He's probably going to manage Cody because Cody's been talking about him.
I don't know, man. I mean, so basically now we're going to rehash our AEW shit.
Pretty much. Yeah. And it's going to mean more because it's on a bigger stage.
I mean, I guess. I mean, the WWE ain't exactly hitting on cylinders right now.
I was gonna ask you about that too. Speaking of them,
how has
Cody's run been?
Cody's run is lackluster at best because guess what? There's nothing about Cody. I mean, he'll get he's a merch mover, of course. He'll get a pop when he comes out. That's not manipulated by the Thunderdome, but his whole title reign is kind of lackluster because once again they had no plan. Then second of all, Cody is stale because it's the same act. I mean, you put him in the ring, him and Logan Paul probably had a good match, whatever, but no one gives a shit about Logan Paul. I mean, anything the guy gets involved in, people consider it to be a joke, and that's just what it is. If he could be Logan Paul can be the best athlete in the world, but he's never going to be fully embraced or accepted by the wrestling fans because
I don't know, man. I think they're coming around to him. I'm being dead ass. I'm being dead ass. I don't know, man.
I'd like to see those. I'd like to see those numbers of when he's out there in the segments.
I do.
That's what I go by.
As a person, because I'm on that bandwagon too. Like as a person, couldn't care less for him. But I respect his abilities in the ring. I do. I actually do. But I think people are starting to come around to Logan Paul as a wrestler.
Well, good. That's excellent, and the business is showing because no one's talking about it. So good job.
I said they're starting to come around to it. Not they love him, but it ain't all hate like it used to be. They ain't just booing the shit out of them just to boo them. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know, man, because you can't tell on their show. But once again, when you have the Thunderdome that's manipulating the audience, you can't tell who's getting booed or cheered at all.
Too. Yeah, that too.
And once again, I'm pretty sure at this point because everybody out there is just thirsty, but I'm pretty sure I'm in a minority here where I just don't find Liv Morgan attractive. At all.
I'm not gonna say she's not attractive.
But what do I know? Because people thought Sunny was attractive back in the day too. So what the hell do I know?
Yeah, that too. But I'm not gonna say she's not attractive. I don't get the hype on Liv.
I don't get the appeal. I don't get the appeal, dude. Like I just see some skinny blonde in there who she just couldn't last. I mean, but you know what? It's just something. She's just not my type. That can be what it is. She's not my type.
Now they did some shit. They did some shit with her and Dom.
I saw it
on Raw. Raw.
Yeah.
They're doing the Latino heat.
Yeah, I saw it. And we're doing a Latino heat because we are fresh out of fucking ideas. So we're going to go into that. Which I understand why they're doing it because it sets up when Rhea comes back to be the biggest babyface. That's what it sets up. So I understand why they're doing it. I just think that the execution of it is too quick to have done it.
I think they should have not shown the kiss. To me. if they would have not shown it, but kind of alluded to something happening, I think they would have been way better off. I think they kind
They
of
couldn't
killed
get
it.
away with that. They couldn't get away with that because the thing is that if people nowadays have these
They
things
have
called
smartphones, yeah.
smartphones with cameras in them, so somebody could have recorded
But
that
that's
shit
what
and
I'm
posted
saying.
it all over
Like,
the place.
don't pull the trigger on her kissing him. Like, don't do that.
It's episodic television, and you want the biggest cliffhanger you can find. So the biggest cliffhanger you
But
got
that
is
shit wasn't
her
even on
kissing him.
television.
Yeah, well, but the biggest cliffhanger you can find was that happening, and that's something that people are going to talk about because they're going to wonder, well, what's Rhea's reaction to this?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
they even showed Michael Cole after the show. They showed some fan recorded this. They showed Michael Cole basically giving Dominic the riot act on the ramp, him and Pat McAfee about it. So
yeah.
I don't know, but it's like I said.
I wouldn't have did that. I wouldn't have did it.
I mean, it's like at the same time too. At the same time, the person that I'm really impressed with is like really coming into his own right now is Damian Priest. But I think that Damian Priest is kind of being held back by the Judgment Day because once again, Damian Priest is a guy that he could be the biggest babyface they have.
Yeah,
I mean,
I gotta agree with that.
People like Priest. Priest has finally found that what I said last week. He's found that Scott Hall aura about himself. He's found he's oozing.
He's been had it. It's just again,
it's
like
really showing now. He has a new
Yeah.
confidence now.
Yeah,
He's really showing.
he had to grow into the role, but he is being held back by the Judgment Day.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they have a built-in story between Priest and the Judgment Day, which was going to be Finn Balor turning on Damian Priest.
Right.
Finn Balor finally takes over the leadership role of the Judgment Day. That's the built-in story here that they're doing that no one's paying attention to. Because Finn Balor is the only person that I know that lost. The guy was the first Universal Champion. Has never gotten it back. Never gotten the championship match for it. So that's the story there, is that he understands, I mean, I was a tag team champion with this guy. Now this guy's world champion. So I feel I'm more talented than Damian Priest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the best wrestler to ever come out of Ireland. So why am I playing second fiddle to Damian Priest? I'm the one who brought the Judgment Day to what it is. I'm the one who took out Edge. It was my idea. So why am I playing second fiddle to you? So that's going to turn JD. That'll turn Dominic, and if Carlito's affiliated with the faction, I'll also turn him. Because right now they're doing Carlito and Damian have the Bros connection because they're both Bariquas.
Yep.
But eventually, okay, how about that's going to fade out? Because you have a situation now where Damian has to be the babyface. He's dealing with two heels, and McIntyre and Gunther. So he has to be, default babyface.
Right. Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is Damian Priest a transitional champion? And I'm asking because
that's hard to say.
Because Gunther has the shot. Gunther has the title shot.
Yeah, and that's hard to say. I think that's most likely going to end up being some kind of a smosh kind of a situation, because you're not going to beat Gunther, but you ain't going to beat Damian Priest either. If they're going to take the belt off Priest to put it on Gunther, then that's basically their way of saying, okay, hey, listen, we took the Intercontinental Championship off of you. We're going to give you something bigger, which is going to be the King of the Ring, and that's going to elevate you to the world title. Right. If that's the case, then now means that Damian Priest carrying that Money in the Bank for as long as he did was a joke. So
I want to believe that come SummerSlam, Priest will lose that belt. And the reason I say this is because they're going to Berlin after that. And them going to Berlin, Gunther going back to Germany as a champion would be massive.
Well, remember, McIntyre didn't leave Clash of the Castle as the Universal Champion. He lost to Roman. That was a nice solo debut.
True.
So they don't really care about that.
That is true. But in this case, I would not bet against that.
Well, we'll
being
see.
that he did lose the Intercontinental Championship.
We'll see. We'll see. But who's necessarily say that they're going to be heavily featured on the show to begin with? Because that could be Cody's time to be featured as well.
That's true too. That could be the case too.
Cody is not losing the championship anytime soon.
No, he's not. He's not. But again, this goes back to the Cody reign.
Yeah.
Much like Swerve, like who's there to breathe down Cody's neck? Seriously.
The only person that's there to breathe down Cody's neck is the people that he's not working with, and that is the bloodline. Those are the ones that will breathe down his neck. But if you put into, well, who else is there that can breathe down his neck? That's a heel Randy Orton.
Right. Who? Yeah, you're right.
That's a heel Randy Orton or a heel Kevin Owens. But
I would say Randy before Kevin.
I don't want to see Kevin Owens. I'm not a Kevin Owens fan.
Right.
So
right.
I would be Randy Orton.
Right.
That
would be the only
thing is you have Randy is so popular right now as a babyface. And if I'm Randy Orton, I'm like, shit, I want to be a top merch seller too. I want to get that merch money.
Right.
Because heels don't sell t-shirts.
True.
The only heels I remember really selling t-shirts like that were the NWO.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stock in Randy right now as a babyface.
Correct.
So I agree with that.
Yeah, because Randy's in a hell of a feud right now with the Bloodline. Specifically, Tama Tonga. So, that feud's going to continue through the summer.
So realistically, looking forward to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
We already know we're getting Gunther versus Priest. We know that.
Right.
Who was there to face Cody? I haven't watched SmackDown in a minute, so I don't. Other than probably Solo. Would Solo be the guy to get that shot? Can they build Solo up to be that contender?
They could do it. They could do it, and that would signal the return of Roman Reigns. That would be the perfect time to bring Roman back at SummerSlam.
Right.
Roman would come back at SummerSlam because Roman would be there to basically Cody and Solo can do the match, and Solo loses, and here comes Roman Reigns. He reappears as a babyface to confront Solo, and Roman takes out
fucking massive.
Oh hell yeah! And Roman takes out this version of the Bloodline, basically saying, "Hey, wait a minute, I haven't talked to you. We haven't talked about anything. You're not the tribal chief. I'm the tribal chief." That would be, then you'll see really at this point whose side is Heyman really on, which would be the Solo. He would be on Solo's side. He'd be on that side of the Bloodline.
Yep.
Because Heyman's
playing it
Heyman's doing he's doing a sympathetic boss figure.
Yeah.
But he's the one pulling strings because I think it's going to come down to, look, I think The Rock's movie commitments are about finished.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing the final boss very shortly.
Yep. One of my theories.
Okay. Hold on a second. Who's going to face Cody at SummerSlam? The Rock.
I was thinking that. Actually, that was one of my predictions for King of the Ring. I actually had Tama Tonga winning it.
And that brings in, and they say, okay, well, how do you debut Jacob Fatu? You have Jacob Fatu come out there and help The Rock become the WWE champion. That then sets up an eventual Roman versus Rock.
Is SummerSlam too soon for that, though?
For what? For The Rock?
Yeah.
Well, you can bring The Rock back at SummerSlam, or you can even have Solo versus Cody, and that way you can reintroduce The Rock either at SummerSlam or later on in the year. But either way it goes, I think Jacob Fatu is either going to debut at SummerSlam or he'll debut at Clash at the Castle.
One
It's
of
gonna
the
be one of
two,
those two.
yeah. I agree.
When he comes in, that's going to be okay because Paul Heyman told him, you're bringing in very dangerous individuals. There was a reason why we never brought these people into the bloodline before. What Tonga Loa can't even get clearance to come over here. That's how serious now. Like Solo is bringing all these kind of like assassins into the group. It's kind of like I said before, man. It's kind of like the death row kind of mafioso gangster style bloodline. So another one that's going to be added here is going to be Jacob Fatu. So you're going to have a whole group here of just
business
ruthless,
will pick
savage assassins is what you got going on here. Then you on the flip side of this, well, who does Roman have? You got, The Rock. Oh, no, you have Roman, the Usos, and I would actually kind of reinsert either Sami Zayn back in this, or I would put Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes aligning with the Usos and Roman Reigns to take on this new version, this deadly version of the bloodline. That's business.
Yeah.
But the bigger business would be if they did a match at War Games and Cody flips on them and takes his rightful place as the tribal chief.
That would be big business too.
Because my thing is, the big business is going to be Cody as a heel. That's the big business. They have the opportunity here, once again, if you're listening, WWE, to the Mark Podcasters, if you're listening out there, okay, you have the opportunity to do something as big as Hogan turning in '96 with Cody.
It's been there. The opportunity's been on the table. You just have to pull the trigger.
You just got to pull the trigger on it. And I'm telling you, that's going to be big business when they do it.
Yep.
Huge business.
I thought they should have did it at Mania.
Yeah, I thought perfect. I mean, it would have made perfect sense because you have a built-in story there of Cody basically betraying Seth Rollins, who said, "I'd be your shield," betraying him. The Rock basically betraying Roman and saying, I'm the final boss. Basically, I'm the final boss. I'm making a story telling the story right here, making all the changes right here. You don't have any power, Roman. I gave you the opportunity to get it done. I put all the chips in your, on your side here, and you couldn't get the job done. So that's the story right there built in as to why all these changes are being made in the bloodline. This all is because of The Rock. The Rock is the final boss. The Rock is the reason why this is all happening. And I can't wait for the reveal. That's what business is going to pick up.
There's one key thing.
They're in a holding pattern right now with a lot of this shit.
Yep. Yeah, they are. But there's one key thing that made me say, okay, Cody would fit in here. And that's the immediate aftermath where they both said, well, Solo said, winning and losing have consequences. That's when they kicked out Jimmy.
Correct.
I was like, oh, this is Cody. This is fucking Cody.
Yeah.
So that would be big business if they do that. So again,
because this all leads back to Cody. This is all going to lead back to Cody Rhodes.
Yep, it does. It will. So WWE, if you're listening to the Mark Podcasters, there you go. Make it happen.
Yeah, the Marks.
All right, man. Final thoughts. What you got?
Well, final thoughts is that we have the Acolyte coming up on June the 4th.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people out there are looking forward to it. I'm not. But hey, if you want to watch it, go right ahead. I'm not telling you not to watch it. I mean, I don't give a fuck if you do or you don't, to be honest. Do what you do. But I'm just gonna, that's what I'm probably gonna end up starting my Andor journey. Right now I'm back watching Rebels. So is what it is, bro. But other than that, man, I can't wait to see reviews of the show when it comes out.
It's gonna be interesting.
Oh, let's talk about something right quick.
Go ahead.
So George Lucas was at the Cannes Film Festival the other day, and he did an interview, and he took he talked about basically how the new corporate owners of Lucasfilm don't understand the Force, and they don't really
Oh, I
understand Star
saw this.
Wars
I
and
saw
how it
this.
works, and that's directly taking shots at
Yep.
Kathleen Kennedy. That's taking shots at Dave Filoni. That's taking
Yep.
shots at Bob Iger and Disney. Basically saying your shit sucks, and it
I
always
saw
has.
that, and I'm like,
Okay.
"Ooh, that was heavy."
Yeah, and
that,
then he
that was
also
heavy.
brought the fact. That um, he talked about the criticism that his films get for basically being about all, just they're all about white men. And he says most of the people, most of the people in Star Wars were aliens, is what he said. And he also brought the fact that I had Billy D. Williams in you know Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I have Samuel L. Jackson in um, the prequels, and he wasn't just some character. He was one of the top Jedi on the
Right.
Jedi Council. And then he talked about the females. He talks about the criticisms that he says, who do you think were the leaders of the rebellion? Princess Leia Organa was the leader of the rebellion.
Right.
She was leading this farm boy who didn't know anything, and Luke Skywalker, and then this other one who didn't know nothing, and she's leading the whole rebellion, much like her mother, Padme Amidala, was leading the rebellion. That's here's what he said. So basically, he just shut down all this woke shit that's killing the entertainment business. And if you don't believe that it's killing the entertainment industry, look at the box office for Memorial Day weekend. Terrible. One of the worst in history.
Yeah, but there's no good movies out.
Oh, it doesn't matter though, because it's the worst, and it's going to continue into the summer, is what they're predicting.
That
It's going
won't
to get bad.
surprise me.
Yeah, it's going to get really bad.
They haven't really been making good movies or releasing good movies, so there's no
Yeah,
excitement to go
it's going
to.
to get it's going to get real bad. I mean, you got Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay, good. And they were and I understand they told Kevin Feige told Hugh Jackman, you don't want to do Wolverine again because it's going to basically just shit all over what you did to Logan. So, but he's back doing Wolverine. Well, hey, whatever. We'll see how this all turns out.
I think that'll be a high selling movie. That
will be. Well, good. At least Disney.
That'll be the only one.
Yeah, at least Disney will have one.
Yeah,
at least Disney will have one. So good for Disney.
So
as soon as they get their heads out of their asses and stop with all this DEI woke agenda bullshit and get back to actually creating really good stories and really good messaging like you did back in the 90s and early 2000s, you won't have any problems. Until then, Hollywood will continue to collapse, and you're going to be on the streets begging for money to support your Oscars, and that's probably going to end up, wiping out people's windshields and shit. Trying to get as much money as you can for your award show no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
We will see. So interesting time, man. Interesting time.
Sure the fuck is. But other than that, help control the pet population out there. Have your pets spayed or neutered, and don't walk your pets on the ground when it's over 90 degrees. Would you want to be walking around barefoot and getting blisters and shit? How do you think your animals feel? So people watch that. Don't do that. All right.
That's hell was upon us. The weather is bipolar.
Yeah, that's just not nice.
Yes, be nice.
Yeah. But other than that, I got nothing. I'm going to go back and watch Rebels. And that's pretty much it. I got nothing else here. So, all you people out there, thanks for listening here to the No Gimmicks podcast. And Mr. Black Man, you can go ahead and take it out, Jedi.
All right, sir. Don't forget June 15th, Mission Pro Wrestling presents Summer Lovin'. Tickets are still available. Make sure you go get it. We are sponsoring a match on that card. London Dior will be in action, and we'll be sponsoring one of her matches. So make sure you guys check out that event, get your tickets, or if you can't make the show, TitleMatchNetwork.com, $9 gets you a plethora of wrestling matches. So make sure you guys tap into that. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning into episode 71 of the No Gimmicks podcast. Thank you guys. Come back next week. Until then, peace.
And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks.